one thing that would help you grow your career in any organization, in any teams, is actually the soft skills. Why? Because even if you are really good at coding, at the technology that you are using, but people don't want to work with you, that's still down, right? Soft skill, emotional intelligence is how you navigate the organization, how you navigate with fellow human beings in becoming the best person that you can be.
Welcome to Kaka Computer. The title of this episode is The Importance of Emotional Intelligence in IT. Why EQ is just as important as IQ in tech. So let's start, guys, with the question, ano ba muna yung emotional intelligence for you guys, especially in the context of IT?
Can I nominate my friend here, Fran? Okay, may reason ako. So the reason why it is good to have Fran answer this question first is because when you are in IT, it helps especially if you are leading people, you are managing people, dito kasi talaga lalabas yung skill na to. And yun, Fran, I'd like to nominate you to answer this question first.
Yeah. So I'm actually thinking about if there's a way for me to define this properly in a technical manner, but nothing comes up actually. Yeah, because it's a very human experience, right? So it's more leaning to philosophical than psychological, right? So if I were to answer this is yeah, emotional intelligence in the context of IT industries. Yeah, you have team members. You're obviously not working alone. Whenever there's a project, whenever there's a deadline, it's not, well, most of the time, it's not just you achieving that deadline. Right? You have to work with these people in order to not just make sure you meet that deadline, but also for you to grow as a person, right? Not for you to learn from them, for you to, yeah, just improve your social skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about what your job entails you to do. So this is it's really hard to define it, but if there is one word that comes into my mind, it's empathy.
Empathy.
It's empathy. It's
Parang maganda maging boss yun.
Diba?
it's empathy. Not just because whenever someone is let's say for a scenario, right? Before I even became a team lead, I'm just an individual contributor. There is a team member who was struggling, right? You can just be you have two choices. You can just be high and mighty, like attack him. Why are you taking so long? Or you would do something much more productive, right? And help that person. Which do you think has a better emotional intelligence there? The second one, right? And as you grow into a much more leadership role than an individual contributor, it's less more about the actual work you're doing, but the impact you're doing to your team. Right? To enable them to be able to be productive, as well as to listen to their problems, because their problems is part of your productivity. Right? You shouldn't just treat it because they have problems. Just ignore them. Right? It's actually affecting their output as well if you want to approach it from a very technical, objective standpoint, right? I really believe in that as well. So yeah, I'm very curious about you guys, right? I mean,
Sige.
we are very.
Gusto mo ba ibalik yung volunteer?
I'm more-
Yun pala na volunteer.
I'm more
Okay.
curious with your perspective because I'm technically in a very much more CTO level kind of perspective for I'm curious about those.
Sige. Perspective man on my end would be, okay, so quick background about me. I used to be an iOS developer, started my career there. And then right now, I transitioned to different roles. Now I'm doing business development, partnerships. Okay. So how do I see emotional intelligence in the workplace with my view? One, how I define emotional intelligence is pretty much soft skills. So there are two types of skills in the workplace. One, there's technical. This is where you do the analytical. I'm really good at coding. I'm really good at analysis. Those things, very important. However, one thing that would help you grow your career in any organization, in any teams, It's actually the soft skills. Why? Because even if you are really good at coding, at the technology that you are using, but people don't want to work with you, that's still down, right? Soft skill, emotional intelligence is how you navigate the organization, how you navigate with fellow human beings in becoming the best person that you can be, the best team member that you can be. And if you become a leader like Fran here, the best leader that you can be. So that's kind of how I see emotional intelligence in the workplace.
Cool.
Thank you for that one. Well, for me, because background-wise, I'm a tech recruiter. So I speak to a lot of tech leaders as well, right? Tech leaders who are leading small teams, large teams. So there are a lot of different definitions when it comes to emotional intelligence, how they really lead their teams, how they cultivate a good culture for the team. So on my perspective, emotional intelligence, it's quite complex, I would say. So I don't think I can summarize it in just one word. So definitely, number one, a lot of emotions in place, right? And I think one thing that is also very important in cultivating a good culture is number one, it's really the communication, right? Being able to communicate openly to your members, being able to show empathy, as Fran mentioned earlier, right? So yeah, I believe that in terms of emotional intelligence, the two most important things really are communication, communicate well to your members, to your peers, to the ones reporting below you, or the ones you report to as well above, right? So yeah, I think in terms of emotional intelligence, that's how I would describe it in the workplace.
Cool. Those are very interesting topics or very interesting definition of EQ. I'm going to go with the word emotions right now because for me, emotional quotient or emotional intelligence is something that you need to actually know yourself. So, kasi yung inyo may teammates involved, diba? Sometimes, you really need to do it on your own din naman. Okay? Like, for me kasi emotional intelligence is more on realizing that this is what I am. Right? This is what I am kapag ka masaya ako. This is what I am kapag ka malungkot ako. This is what I am kapag ka naiinis na ako, nauubuso na ako ng pasensya, ganyan. So, the first stage is still acceptance for yourself. Eh. In order for you to have that empathy, to communicate well, you need to accept. And I think that is what emotional intelligence for me means because everything starts in our own ourselves, diba? So, every decision making, okay, every team members na ka-work natin, how will we react to certain situation in the industry right now? And we know how stressful it gets sometimes, diba? I've been handling with students because I've been an educator. I've been with teammates as well, very technical teammates, very non-technical teammates, and your emotions are going to be tested. But when you know yourself and you know how to vent it out actually, kasi sometimes akala nila kapag ka emotional intelligent ka, ito yung magaling magtago, 'di ba, ng feelings. Ano yun, tako anong feelings lang, 'di ba? Hindi naman ganoon eh. Kasi sometimes the more you keep it, the more you want it out, 'di ba? Yun yung nangyayari. So, it's more on accepting the emotions itself. And that's what emotional intelligence is for me.
White Cloak Technologies is a custom software development company. They build mobile and web applications. They work with leading brands in banking and real estate. Visit their website at www.whitecloak.com to know more.
But sige, let's move on to more things no. Can you share an example of how emotional intelligence help you navigate a very difficult situation? Like for example, at your own workplace. Paano ba nangyari? Like halimbawa may mga sobrang emotional na mga conversations with the client, with the business partners. Ano yung madalas na pumapasok sa isip mo? Or how do you handle yourself from there?
Sige, maybe I could do this one first. Example. So I think most of us here are also part of the community, the tech community, right? Because this is some common examples also wherein pupunta ka sa isang situation. Of course, matetest naman yung emotional intelligence mo if it's a surprise. Usually it's a surprise situation, diba? In this case, one big event, this was in Cagayan de Oro. we were organizing like a 600 people conference. Expectation there was that it is in partnership with the school, and then our expectation is that the partner already knew about the event. Ganyan. So we flew in speakers, we have Microsoft there, we have AWS there, we have Google there. And then eventually, the night during the ingress, the chancellor, the head of the school, suddenly told us, "Oh, what are you guys doing here? Why do you have you're doing all of this event? We did not approve of this event." Like imagine 600 people already flying there with all of the speakers, even outside of the US, they're getting there. And then I was there leading the organization. Like, what do I do with this situation? Alangan naman, umiyak ako. Wala na, andyan na yung mga tao, diba? So, okay. What's the best thing you can do? So, the first thing you can do is really just take a pause and breathe.
Yeah.
Otherwise, magpapanik ka eh. So, take a pause. Okay, the situation is this. What are the things that I can control? Yan, start there. Kasi for sure, wala ka na makakontrol. So at this point, the only thing that you can control is actually yourself and your emotions. So take a pause. And then from then on, okay, take a pause, breathe, lakad konti. Okay, the first thing that I can do now is talk to the chancellor. Okay, is there a way I can negotiate there? For sure, kasi chancellor is like very head. Isipin nyo na lang mga boss ninyo, di ba? You talk to your boss, go straight. Kailangan mo lakas ng loob mo. But that's one thing that you can control. The next person na pwede mo makontrol or try to negotiate is actually sino yung pinaka may power to make things happen. So in this case, kung sa workplace yan, that would be the client or that would be your boss. So you try to talk. So kailangan mo ng courage kasi that's the next best thing that you can do. And then from then on, you try to negotiate. Yung nangyari was, I tried to negotiate, I got rejected. Okay, sige, fine. What else can I do? So lakad ako ulit. But I wouldn't want to stop. I'll try again. The second time naman pumayag. But this time, kasi nakapag-isip-isip din yata siya, nandito na yung situation, the school's reputation is already at stake also. May kumausap na din sa kanya. So at least I tried again. Kasi if I didn't try again, wala talaga. Say goodbye everyone, even the speakers, bye Microsoft, bye all the other partners. So similarly, in the workplace, may mga ganong the situations wherein we are caught by surprise. What are the things that you can control, right? Like you said, sarili mo muna. Take a breathe. And then what are the next best things that you can do? So similarly, ganun din. That's emotional intelligence I see in place at work and in any situation. I think even personal, right?
Of course.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, now that I think about it deeply, right? The more you guys share your stories, I think emotional intelligence is also how you could regulate your emotions properly,
Yeah.
given that there's an external factor out of your control. You receive that, but what you can control is your reaction, right?
Correct.
Yeah, because you can't control other people, and that's goes with my story, right? Because more often than not, us leaders in the tech industry, we are tasked for performance evaluation, right? More often than not, sometimes there are underperformers that will make you frustrated, angry even. I admit I went through that phase, and I was just a young tech lead, transitioning into the role. But then again, the moment you talk to the person, right, you have to you have to have that thought, how it will affect that person, right? And if you're worried about your productivity, how will it affect your productivity if that person is angry at you, right?
Yes.
For example. But I learned later on that sometimes when people are underperforming or they're not, let's say they're always late or they seem distracted always, it's just a matter of no one asks why. Right? Most ineffective leaders, they just react at the situation. Why are you like this? Why are you like that? Just come in early. And I had a phase like that, honestly, yeah. As a immature leader, then you will see that there's no improvement. Because you didn't actually do anything productive in that talk, right?
Yep.
You didn't ask, why are you late? Oh, it's because I can't wake up early. I have sleep apnea, for example. Okay, so what can we do about that? That should how productive, that should how this conversation should work. It's not just me telling you what to do, okay? it's you holding their hand and then guiding them towards something to the actual goal that you want. Them coming in early, them performing better, and them having necessary skills for them to be improve, right? So yeah, I guess that's my input for this one. Yeah.
I also would like to add what you mentioned about knowing yourself, right? This time, it's different because you also have to understand the other person on what works
Correct.
with them, right? So that's emotional intelligence also. Okay.
That's cool.
And if I may add, because there's something that I actually learned pretty recently, with regards to emotional intelligence. Because for me, I'm actually also a very young to the leadership aspect. So I've been an associate manager for more than a year now, managing a few people. And I think a lot of times, us as leaders, we can get very overwhelmed, right? Because we bear like a lot of things, a lot of the responsibility of our team. So what I learned recently is sometimes I just need to open up and speak to my leaders, speak to people whom I know cares for my development, who can really help me out. So I met with one of our regional directors a few weeks back, and I was so tense coming into the meeting because I figured that I need to figure everything out. I need to be confident and everything. And the first thing he mentioned to me, Shane, you're very tense. You can calm down. You don't need to have everything figured out. It's important from time to time for you to also step back, right, in order for you to further grow as a leader. So I think incorporating that into the emotional intelligence piece is really very important. Sometimes to take a step back first, go to someone, to some people, to your managers, to your leaders, whom can help you out in those difficult situations, right? Because us as leaders, just because you're a leader doesn't mean you need to have everything figured out and you can't ask for help. So yeah, I think that's what I can add.
Also, I'd like to add one important lesson I learned from someone lang din. Ay, sinabi niya na kahit nasa leadership position ka, it's totally okay to say, I don't know.
Yes.
Parang, medyo, kailangan ng, okay, medyo embarrassing siya, but that's the case eh. Sometimes we just don't know. Or pwede natin sabihin, I don't know, pero balikan kita dyan. Or, I don't know, let me take back this to my team, to my organization, and then I'll get back to you.
Yeah, that was so beautiful about all of the stories that we've actually talked about. We're running out of time. But I guess that is the episode. And it was very fun to talk to you guys about emotions because there's something that a lot of people here in the industry doesn't actually talk about, right? Because emotions, specifically in the Filipino culture, is more an drama, diba? Ganyan. But it's really, really an important thing. Just like what you said earlier, it works with productivity. It is a factor as a soft skill. It is a factor for communication of the team. It is very important for the success because once you have set your goal, it's not all about tech stuff. It's not all about technicalities. Sometimes it's all about you building yourself as well. And part of yourself is always going to be your emotions as well. So good talk, guys. That's the episode.